Hi, I'm Ashley Bullington, and you're watching The Warmup, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents in the Colony, Keller, Arlington, Flower Mound, Plano, and Mesquite. A new year, but we still have great high school football as there's only 2 more weeks of the season. And we've moved on to the semifinal round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. These are some of the games that you'll be seeing highlights of on this week's episode of Wingstop Inside High School Sports. Aledo and Ryder go head-to-head after having their toughest test of the season and their regional final round of playoffs. Aledo got pushed in a major way last week, trailing 38-28 after 3 quarters. But they got a fourth quarter surge to pull away from previously unbeaten Lovejoy, 52-48. Lamar signee DeMarco Robert rushed for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also added an 88-yard kickoff return for a score. Alabama signee JoJo Earl added in 151 yards and a touchdown. These two met up in this round in 2018, and Aledo dominated that matchup. Many of the seniors for Ryder played in that game, and there's no doubt the Raiders haven't forgotten. The question is if Ryder can be competitive with Aledo. Carroll and Duncanville will be meeting up in playoffs once again. Southlake defeated Euless Trinity 59-35 last week in the regional finals. This is Carroll's first trip to the state semifinals since 2011. Carroll quarterback Quinn Ewers made his second straight start after a sports hernia surgery sidelined him for over a month. Ewers, an Ohio State pledge and the top-ranked junior recruit in the country, didn't throw an incomplete pass until the second quarter and had 1 incompletion at halftime, finishing with a career-high 450 yards and 6 touchdowns. Minnesota-bound receiver Brady Boyd had 17 catches for 261 yards and 4 touchdowns. Duncanville, number 2 in the 6A Division I state rankings, got big performances from Grayson James. Roderick Daniels Jr. in its defense bottled up the Eagles in a 56-28 victory. The Panthers outgained the Eagles 578-258 in total yards, and the defense recorded 9 sacks. James threw for 471 yards on 22 of 28 passes with 3 touchdowns. Daniels had 8 catches for 267 yards and 1 score. This game could be an instant classic. So many great games and only 2 weeks left in the season. I cannot believe state is almost here. We'll have all those games and more that you'll be seeing highlights of on this week's episode of Wingstop Inside High School Sports. Also, make sure you vote on our Hot Play of the Week poll presented by Louisiana Hot Sauce for a chance for your community to move on to compete for the Play of the Year. Here's last week's winner. Last week, Mansfield Summit beat Red Oak to advance to the quarterfinal round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. That win also earned them our local North Texas Geico Agents Team of the Week. They have been the underdogs in David and Goliath situations and every time have come out on top.
Our coaches really just talk about, Coach Hall specifically just talk about 10 toes deep. And when we started the playoff run, everybody was 10 toes deep, and that's how we roll.
We have a great senior class, and as we went through the season, we just said we was going to lock in and get the underclassmen ready, and we was going to do what we had to do.
Well, our coaches, they preach saying ride for your brothers and make sure you play for the person next to you and not just for yourself. And ever since we got here, Coach Hall been preaching about leaving your mark, leaving your legacy, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, that's the coach. Wake up every day with a championship mindset. When you look in the mirror, you need to be a champion. We're just in the classroom, on the practice field, in the hallways, in the cafeteria. The culture we're trying to set is, hey, if you're going to be a Jaguar, there's a standard that you have to follow. And again, it's always not wins and losses, but when you win, that's fun too. But just that championship mindset and whatever you do, and putting your best foot forward every day.
The Jags take on the #1 team in 5A Division I, Denton Ryan, and we will have highlights of that game on this week's episode. We will also have a great Dalworth Clean inside story coming at you on this week's episode of Inside High School Sports on the rise of the Lovejoy Leopards football team.
I think as a coach, what I recognize is, one, how hard they work, and then two, they don't flinch. We've had 3 games where we've been down at halftime, and the other night, I think we were down 30-15 or something like that. They don't flinch. And that comes in a complete belief in what they can do and what we're doing together.
Junior Ollie Gordon has put himself on the college radar during Texas high school football playoffs. So we asked him to put a memory in our Inside High School Sports time capsule.
Probably not last week, but the week before game, Midland Lee. At halftime, I feel like that was like the best high school moment because we just came at halftime and we were down by 21, and we were just talking and we was like, we got to get this together because we are not going home this week at all. We are not going home. I kept telling them that we aren't, and all our receivers and our linemen and stuff, we just had a little meeting before our coaches came down to halftime. We were talking we just telling each other, we got you. We told our defense, get out there, get a stop for us, and we got you. We're gonna go score for y'all. And that's what happened. So I feel like that's probably one of my favorite moments.
Now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the warm-up, the extra point. Riley Dodge won't be able to be on the sidelines this week as his Dragons take on Duncanville in the semifinals. He wrote, "Obviously, super disappointed as a competitor that I cannot be with my guys. I have amazing coaches and players that will hit the ground running. Thank you for all the texts and phone calls. Next man up mentality. Hashtag God is good. Hashtag protect the tradition. Hashtag no fear." Some hoops action from a former bobblehead winner. Tyrese Maxey is looking good with the 76ers as he drained this 3 versus Charlotte.
T. Stiebel, Dwight Howard in the middle. And again, the lone starter, Ben Simmons, a 3 from Maxey, and down it goes for Tyrese Maxey.
That's all we have for this episode. Follow all of Inside High School Sports social accounts to stay up to date on everything going on in the high school sports scene. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. That throughout the week will get you ready for the main event. Wingstop Inside High School Sports on NBC5 this Saturday at 5 p.m. Hosted by Pat Downey. Thank you for watching The Warm-Up, presented by your local North Texas Geico agents in the Colony, Keller, Arlington, Flower Mound, Plano, and Mesquite. To get more information or a quote, go to geico.com/DFW. I'm Ashley Bullington, and I hope you're warmed up for all of the playoff action coming your way on Wingstop Inside High School Sports. And Happy New Year.